Morning, good morning, good morning. You're in tune to WINN FM 98.9. That's on your radio dial. It's in the studios of WINN FM. It's 8 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. I'm so proud I can look up, I can watch the clock, and I can give the time. It's been a long time. It's been a long time for me. You're in tune to Your Views. Your Views is a program that is aired on WINN FM. Let me slow it down. Every Friday morning around this time, 10 o'clock. It's a program where you sometimes, like today, I'm going to allow you to call in and share your views because we're going to discuss topic that of interest to us, the ordinary man. It's a program where normally I would get people coming and inform you, present information, and educate you in areas that you have difficulties. It's that kind of program. But this morning, it's a beautiful Friday morning in St. Kitts. Let me tell you, normally around this time of year, it is hot, it's getting dry because Easter is around the corner, but I suppose climate change is no respect of person. It's beautiful here in St. Kitts. Lovely breeze. Yesterday we had some rain, which was well needed. And then today when the sun comes out, it's like a brand new day. It is so beautiful. So those of you who are in the diaspora and not enjoying this kind of weather, you gave it up. That was by choice, and I suppose I am grateful that I am in a position where I can wake up and feel this way every morning. Every morning I do my affirmation that I'm happy, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I am all that and what and more. And I'm genuinely feeling good about that. Okay, what are we going to talk about this morning? This morning I'm going to open the line so we can have a discussion. I've been very bothered. I must apologize for my 2 weeks that I wasn't here. It was due to circumstances be really beyond my control, so I could not have really, emotionally, you were not there, and it was just one of those 2 weeks, sometimes, and it reminds me that it's the cycle of life. We live every day like it is owed to us. We behave daily like we deserve what we get, and the higher beings, they owe a lot to us, and so we live the life that we want to live. But later on, when things happen, we see people who are falling down like flies, people my age, younger. It is just a sad situation. But then you see people continue living like it's normal. What else would it take for us to get, to wake up and realize that life is not the same? We hear about the problems of the banks in America failing. Everything is failing around us. We're seeing the war in Ukraine taking all kind of different turns. We're hearing of China getting involved, America looking. It's just war and rumors of war. And when I say that, then other Christians are going to say, yeah, it has been prophesied in the Bible. Or when you read Revelations, or when you read Matthew, when you read John, it tells you that these are end times. I don't believe that God is going to create a world and he's going to destroy it and know what is going to happen like it have done before. There were the times of the dinosaurs, there was the people in Atlantis, and if you read history will tell you that this world is billions of years old, and then we ask ourselves the question, is it the world, is it Earth that is going to have issues, or the inhabitants of Earth that is going to have issues? What can save Earth? We understand the Bible would talk about, and everything that you would have read, whether you're Mormon, you're Muslim, you're Christian, you're Buddhist, they all talk about one thing, and that is love. And that is something that we have to start to learn to share. First, we have to love ourselves. We see the things that people would have done to themselves. You hear about this drug people are using that destroys them. You have, it eats your flesh. And when I could see what humans can do to themselves, every day I said, I don't want to be human anymore. Not I don't want to die, but I think I want to ascend to my higher self, where I cannot be, just like Jesus said to his disciples, you're in the world, but you're not of the world. I don't want to be of this world. When you see that has been done, you definitely start to question whether or not you want to be a part of this world. So what can we do? What can we do? We can try to see if we can make love and not war, create peace and not chaos. And these are the things that we have to start to learn to do. We have to start looking at each other as yourself. We're all connected. And until we understand that we are all connected, you see other countries, you see Chinese can do that. They can do so much things with their mind. And you ask yourself, are they special? No, but they're in tune with their higher selves. We look at us as black people, we sit down every day and we think about slavery. We use it as an excuse, see how we can be compensated because our foreparents had to suffer the whip of the planters. But we fail to realize that they had some black people who were planters too. And we mope around thinking that, oh, we are so sad, we have been oppressed, and we put ourselves into that frame of mind and become that person. We have to learn to rise above that. Look at us and see that we are powerful. All of us, we have all the same powers. We just have to tap into that and make sure that we can become that. But first, you start with loving yourself and loving your neighbors. And according to the Christians, I mean, that's what the Bible would say. And you hear me say according to Christians because that's what they believe. When you look at the world and you see everybody have all these different beliefs, but they come back to one thing. It comes back to love. And the Bible says the greatest commandment is to love the Lord thy God and thy neighbor as thyself. And we have to start practicing loving our neighbors as ourselves. What causes division among us? I'm going to look at one of the areas that creates lots of division. There are three things. But I'm going to look at one in particular. Religion creates division. Surprise, surprise, surprise. It is a fact that religion creates division. If you're of one denomination, then you start talking ill of another denomination and you're serving the same God. Could you imagine that? Those are the things that makes me wonder who I am, who are we, and where are we aspiring to go? Are we really waiting for that time, the time of the rapture? So we think that we are going to ascend into heaven. See all of us going up, well, I'll be holding on a lot of feet because some of them don't deserve to go up there. So we are looking for that. We're not looking at the fact that we are ascending from one dimension into another, making sure, and that can happen when you are in tune with your higher self. Another area that poses problem, politics, and that's the topic I'm going to talk about today. Politics, and the lines are open. 662-0989 466-0989 or 762-0989. That's the number you can call if you want to have, be a part of the discussion where we can talk about what is causing division in this world. Why are we as a people moving in the directions that we're going? And how is greed playing such a big part in the division? Because everybody's running into politics, and you ask yourself the question, why? I got very close up and personal. Then I recognize what it takes. You have to sacrifice who you are. You have to become somebody else in order to be a part of the political equation. Your mindset has to change. And if you continue, you can become very corrupt because people are looking not for how they can make it big enough or including the ordinary man and everybody else could be included to benefit. It's not about that. It's about them. And take it from me. I know there's a saying, if fish come out of the water and say shark is in there, then you know it's a fact. I became up close and very personal in politics. I didn't like it, and that's why I'm talking about it now, and I still don't like it. Ordinary man, voters, electorates, let me tell you some things. You have been duped. They come to you, they ask you to vote for them, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And as an ordinary person, you want little. And that is one of the reasons why they come to you, because they know that you want little. So they can only promise little. If they promise you $500, they're good. And we fall for that. Gullible as we are, we listen to slogans and give in to those and become that. It becomes us. So a man thinketh is exactly who he is. So we hear get rid of them. Became a big slogan, and everybody bought into that. But again, you can't blame people, because at the end of the day, we thought unity was the answer. And up to now, nobody can come out and say why unity is no longer where it is. We saw the infighting. What were they fighting about? Nobody seemed to know. But you would have sacrificed yourself, your family, your character to be a part of a makeup. And at the end of the day, what happens? The people who you supported and you were loyal to, you recognize that they were in it too for their own personal gain. You not having an understanding of what it is because you thought politics was about poor people and helping people, because that's what they say when they're on the platforms. And you buying to that, and you become the voice for that. And that is something that you're saying because that's what you know, but not knowing that there is a bigger or a wider reason why some people, other people, the people that you're rooting for, you don't understand that they're not of like minds. They have other motives. Well, it is interesting. And let me tell you, when we replace one and put in another, the same thing is going to happen. It's the nature of human. They can't seem to get enough. And that is why I said greed is one of the biggest contributing factors to the downfalls of lots of political parties. I listened to Asset Michael talking to the Prime Minister in Antigua, and they have had some discrepancies about a watch that was given to him, and he sent back the watch. But when you listen to the other things and the corruption and the contributions and the way the whole thing is set up, why are you not talking about the millions of dollars that I would have helped you with? Why are you not talking about the connections that I would have brought to you? Why and you listen to it, and we as humans and ordinary people that is not so informed, let's say educated, we are not informed enough to have an understanding that it is a game. Some people play the game well, and others are used just because of their influence and for the little purpose or the little contribution that they can make. But your part, we, the ordinary man, we are just a part of the law scheme of things. And we help them to do what they want to do. I mean, I can talk about the unity construct and what they did. I thought this was the right thing and the right way to go. Look at the things that they would have done. Took us out of the hands of IMF. They got back. And I don't want to make it sound like, oh, it's the only thing. But there's so many other things. But these are great things. Reduce taxes during the time, hard economic crisis. We were, the stimulus packages, we were afforded that opportunity to help us to get through, not easily because the crisis, there's nothing easy about it, but cushion some of the hard falls. That is what they did. And you can't overlook that. You definitely can't overlook that. And we want people who are not party oriented, but politically minded, and understand that each political party have a part to play. They make their promises and they have to fulfill them. But at the end of the day, it comes back to what happened to all of us. We were second in Latin America and the Caribbean. Our GDP was higher than only the Bahamas that was in front of us. Everybody spoke about where we were or where our economy was during the crisis. Barbados, Jamaica, the big islands, they were struggling, and we were breezing through it like it was, not that it was easy, but it was much more cushioned than that of America. And we could have boasted that. So, and those are facts. Those are facts. That's not me just coming in here and saying these things. Those are facts. That is where we were. And I hope that we can maintain that position for the next 5 years. Because at the end of the day, hard times are coming. We have seen it already. The shelves are filled with poison. Every minute we call in things. And those of you who thought you were vegans and people who are just eating fruits, here comes the downfall. Here comes the disappointment. They are recalling strawberries because they say it has hepatitis A virus in there. And how it got there, nobody seemed to know. So when we think that we are safe, those of us who are buying almond milk because we don't want to drink cow's milk because cow's milk is not good, unless you're making it yourself, you're buying poison. Look at the ingredients that are in lots of these things. Those of you who are using a lot of vitamins and think that, oh, I'm good, look at the ingredients. Magnesium stearate, which is carcinogenic. It has been proven that is one of the stabilizers in there. So when we think that we are on the right path, these people are greedy, and that's what greed does. They don't mind, they don't care what or who they destroy. Children are part of the plan. Everybody, as long as they can make money. And that is what politics is. That's what it is. It's about who can make money and how much in the fastest time. They have 5 years to make themselves rich because they're not sure at the next 5 years that they're going to be in there. And they don't think about, you look at where our PAP program is. Poor people were benefiting. And listen, the government has a right to do what they want to do. But let's do this. If you're going to take away these programs, you have to find, if you think that people have to work and earn their keep, then you have to create an environment where they can work and earn their keep. You cannot take away from them, and there's no alternative. The other alternative is to go back where they were. Sorry, criminal activities. It's going to heighten because people have to survive. That is some of the mechanisms that people use, or methods that people use, methods of survival. So if you're going to change because you think it's not just for changing's sake, if you say that the peace program was corrupt, then what you do is take off because you understand the areas that were corrupted, you get rid of that, you fix that, and you continue to allow until you can come up with a solution, one that is workable so that these young people can find themselves in a job, earning their keep legally. And that is what you have to do. You don't just go in and make changes. We do understand. But for 7 years, the country was running with all of these programs in place. Whether or not they would have been sustainable for 10 years, we don't know because it only ran for 7. So I can't say for the next 10 years, for the next 3 years. I can't say that, but I know it ran for 7 years. So what, and you out there, you have an understanding, you understood what was going on, you knew whether or not these programs were sustainable. And so when you get in there, you should have had a plan. And that's me. There are a lot of people who, because they're benefiting now, they're going to cuss you. They're going to tell you all manner of things. But it's a fact. It is the ordinary man who suffers. We have all these young people coming out of school. Where are they going? And you have to be honest. We are bent, the CBI program, I said, and I will say it all, I said it for 20 years, 20 years now, I've been saying it, so include the 7 years that went. It is a slush fund. But we don't, as the ordinary man doesn't understand the sacrifices that have to be made, and it is us, the ordinary citizens, are the ones that are being sacrificed. We cannot compete with the Chinese. We cannot compete with the Russians. We cannot compete with the Indians, because when you go to the banks, they look at you. Poor man would not be able to pay back, and they're not going to give you, they're not going to afford you the opportunity to get a loan. When you, the small businessman, have issues and you can't afford to pay, the banks come down on you hard. When the big business people who owe millions, they're the ones who, they give them advice of how we can help you. But the small man, nope. Nope. You're the ones who they come down on hard. You can't go in and have a discussions with the bank and tell them, oh, you know, I run into some hard times, but things are going to be better. Nope. The mama papa shop has been replaced by Chinese. Okay, people say, Sandra, it is necessary. But yeah, I don't mind people coming in, but you can't displace your own. Those little shops that used to depend heavily on the ordinary people coming in. The restaurants are being run by Jamaicans. I don't have anything against them. I'm just pointing out the facts. Yeah. We have a call. Let me take this call. Caller, you're live on your views.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi, good
Long
morning.
time no hear.
Hello, friend.
Yeah, I happened to hear your opening. And, you know, quite a number of our views and opinions depend on the premises we make. And if the premises are wrong, our views and opinions are probably going to be affected as a result. Right? I heard you say in the opener that if shark comes out of the water and tell you, or rather, if what is sardines
fish,
come out of the water,
any fish come out of the water,
and you better believe him.
Yeah.
Right. You said that in one breath, and then you went on to say you can't understand why unity lost power. Didn't the sardines come out of the water and say shark in there?
Yeah, but
Exactly.
they didn't tell you what kind of shark was in there.
It was very obvious to the electorate, right? You see, Sandra, and this is the premise. You come up with the premise that they did so many good things. First of all, right? That may be true in some instances.
Be realistic.
But I could go through all the things that you may claim to have been attributed to Team Unity. And I could point out problems in virtually all of them. Practically all. Right? And some of the good that was done was really a result of the good that other people did.
But you didn't let me say that.
So what I'm saying is, the people made the decision that they stayed too long for any good that they'd done and changed them, which is their right.
People saw the instability.
And
Don't do that.
And if these do not live up to the expectations of the people,
people are going
they should be changed as well.
Thank you. People saw the instability in unity. Unity broke down from inside. That was one of the issues, and that was the biggest issue. Unity
they were
broke down
that's the
on
problem.
Exactly. We call it whatever it is, and call it for what it is. They broke down from the inside, and these are things that people have to look at. And that is what I say to you. I went in, you're thinking that you're fighting for one cause, and when you go in, you realize you're fighting for other cause. And as a person, you question it. As the people the electorate, they question the same thing, and they make their decisions. But I do hope that these people will live up to the premises that they campaign on. And
I hope so too.
That they make.
But the nice thing about it, again, my mantra still remains, because I always used to say it, right? If you're not satisfied, then you change.
Change the
And
change.
if you're still not satisfied with the change, you change again. You don't keep the status quo. Right? As a matter of, at some point, the politicians would get the message that people are no longer going to tolerate foolishness.
It's true.
Right?
Definitely.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. It's always a pleasure. And it's just what it is. And I said it, and I'm going to say it again. Sometimes you look at situation. Unity broke down from the inside. It was, and I said it earlier, greed. Greed becomes one of the greatest factors. Relationships are destroyed because of greed. And when people go in with one foot in, another foot out, you're going to have issues. When trust becomes a factor, which was a factor now in retrospect, hindsight is 2020, they said, in retrospect you saw it, that there were issues. We lost that caller. There were issues, and because of that, that is one of the reasons why we found ourselves in a situation. They made promises giving us the impression we are the ones that they were interested in. But yet still, they couldn't stand up and fight for our cause. Let's go to the line and take this call. Caller, you live on your views.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you?
Hey, I'm great.
You can hear me clear?
You are mumbled. You're playing around. Sound like WINN in the phone.
Okay, yes, because I in the hills.
You're in the hills, okay.
You can hear me a little better now?
Oh, I'm hearing you clear, yeah.
Okay, right. I just shift from living. Now, Sandra, I listen to your content, David. I listen to you when you start. and you start from greed
Mm-hmm.
and people in sharing and giving.
Mm-hmm.
And why people wait, you start again saying again?
If
Look
fish,
how you're looking for the animal them, you know, again sometimes, you know. Because sometimes the thing get out me ear too.
yeah. Just say what you feel. Say what you think. What brought you to making the call?
Eh?
Say the reason why you're making the call. So you must have heard
Or
something that would
the reason why you want to make the call is your
statement
first statement you
about
make.
the fish come out the water and say shark in there.
Yes.
Hmm. And the fact that the greed becomes one of the biggest. We talk about religion and the factors that divisive factors.
Yeah, dividing factor.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Angela, let me move on. Yeah, we continue. Now, the reason why we so divide, because we ain't following up to Bible standard. And I listen to Mr. Gregory sometimes, right? But I know Gregory sometimes he does half force. Because no man is perfect. And no man could do everything that is right all the time. You can't continue to do everything that's right. But at least that we got to keep focus on whatever we're doing. And the reason for that, Sandra, no parents sending the children to Sunday school anymore. Children just getting up blind and ignorant, and especially these smartphones, are these taking away the knowledge of the old-time parents them, where they give us. Because I believe the old-time parents them knowledge and the understanding where they had, and they just the little knowledge they had. I believe that was thing because I for one continue to always follow what my mother and my father taught me. That's why I'm so successful in life and I'm doing well for myself.
Good.
Because I always try to do something with a family, run some kind of business for myself. I try not to depend on no one, just like how my parents them tell me not to do. Because look at it, the program was a good program. It was a good program, and you know we vote for unity because it's we who say we want unity, you know. It's we the ordinary people who vote us.
Yeah.
Because we see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And if them not turn against us because of whatever problem they had with unity against themselves in government, in parliament, well, we, the people them got to decide what they want, really. The people them got to decide what they want because we let unity and they turn the back on us, as you call it.
Yep.
You understand?
Yep.
I believe that Dr. Harris had a good idea. I believe he was doing a good job. And I believe if he get the next term, I believe it will be different. Because certain things could not continue how it continue all the time. He might have to do different, the same way too. But you see that the people them don't vote. That's why, Sandra, I backing out of the politics along, you know.
Yep.
You
Me
know,
too.
I just calling out and talking what's going on because I believe that the country is us, and if you're like a government, you wish that the government could do good because if they fail, the whole country fails.
Definitely.
You see that being the recession now. We don't know what's going to happen to this war in Ukraine and other things rising up. Like China want to attack Taiwan and all these things. And this thing that we got to absorb and listen and done with the ignorant politics at the time. We got the time. I mean, opposition will there to us oppose. But I mean, we are the people on the ground. When we politicians, when we don't need the politicians, we don't need what. And sometimes it's just empty promises.
Yeah, so politics though, it's becoming very difficult to listen to you, honestly. It's that noise, that the noise in the back of the phone is becoming an irritation for me. It's yeah, and I understand what you're saying, yeah. So continue to listen though, and thank you for your contribution. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, although you couldn't hear him, the little bit you were hearing was making a lot of sense. It is the fact that politicians continue to fail us, and we continue to hold on to them. there are lots of things happening in this world, natural disasters, earthquakes in all the different places, and these affect production, food production. You have flooding in all kind of different areas. We see an extended, I mean, people are still having snow, areas are still having snow when we're getting into spring. And we are seeing these things and having an understanding of what is going to happen. But are we paying attention? Let's go to the line and take another call. Caller, you live on your views.
Greetings.
Hi. To you too, sir.
You said?
I said greetings to you too, sir.
Yes. Yeah, you're talking about the political situation, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that is part of the problem, you know, the politics.
Mm-hmm.
If you look all over the world, all are mash up to the politics.
It's true.
Yeah. So I see each time we leave that alone and move on. You know, I've been saying, you know, we must realize this. Humanity is not realizing themselves. I mean, some of them, right? Because why is it you want somebody to lead you? Why is it you want somebody to make laugh of you?
It's true.
You understand? Somebody, you know, remember, all human beings are equal, eh?
Yeah.
No, we just play different roles in a society, depending on what society we're in. All human beings are equal.
It's true.
Just like all cattle equal, all dog equal, all, you understand?
Yeah.
So if you understand that, we must know that this politics system exists within the society we live. But that doesn't exist, is not the limit then of man's evolution. Right? Man was designed to control his own destiny.
It's true.
I mean, so when you leave that up to politicians in a system, you can't vex with the politicians when they do what they have to do. Because you give them the authority there because you participate in the same game. You understand? So the whole reality is that now we must come into ourselves and control our own life, control our own destiny. And a word on next for that, which is Rastafari. See?
You realize Rastafari is not, maybe you all are not loud enough because the churches are dominating. They're the ones who are still brainwashing and the politicians are dominating.
No,
so
but
maybe
Rastafari is a responsibility. Every man has to take answer in own, you know, it's not like
okay.
I command. You know, like with politics, right? You know, you have to see it within yourself because you can't be a man before your mind make you one.
It's true.
Right? So it's the mind, the things, you know, and you have to careful how you cultivate your mind.
It's true.
You know,
but it can be influenced.
We come to slavery and we end up in this situation here after the slave. Right? And we keep continuing it.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. You came through slavery? Were you a slave?
Well, yeah, because I was in my four parents' lines, you know what I mean?
So you became a slave?
Huh?
So you became a slave?
Well, we are slave within the system, if you look at it.
If you look at the system, but you
objectively, we are slaves, right?
But you said earlier, every man decides his own destiny. If you're going to think, a man, so a man thinketh, so is he. So
natural.
If you were going to think that you're a slave, you're going to create that slave mentality, and you become a slave, and people are going to lead you. So you have to.
Let me make adjustment to that.
Okay.
Then, you know what I mean? I'm saying we live in a system, right?
Okay.
With the nature of the system, right, is to keep people in a certain level of control.
Consciousness, right? Mm-hmm.
Right? Which is basically was brought down to slavery, right? Mm-hmm. Because remember, you know, we have to be careful, you know, because we watch the war with Ukraine and we feel say this one better than that one, and where. It's a system.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that it's not who, whether nation or the other. No, it's a system. What system they're using to govern man? Is the system they have in place making man better, making man happier, is man coming kinder? You know what I mean? What are these systems doing to man? You understand? Mm-hmm. And up to now, I don't see no other system besides Rastafari that is improving mankind. You know what I mean? Christianity tried, you know, but then it's like, he ain't really so straight, you know. So we see Rastafari from the root coming right up, you know, and you see the
it's obvious.
improvement of people, of mankind, you know.
But it's obvious that you haven't studied Buddhism, because Buddhism tells you directly you control your own destiny, just like Rastafarianism. You are who you are. You are the kingdom according to where you are aspiring to go. It is it lies within you. The great I am, which is you. It's the person who controls your destiny. It's just like Rastafarianism is saying, but Buddhist has been talking amongst that. Your power, everybody's connected. Nobody is greater than none. And so,
but I'm saying in these dark days, right? The same faith, the same teaching we surface through the Rastafari culture.
Definitely.
But we're not like picking it up, you know. We running headlong with the politics, and we say we want to get it from colonialism, but we're keeping up the politics with the colonial man give us.
Creating the environment, and so that's what we're going to be.
We're a part of the Commonwealth. You know what I mean? So all of these things, if you're serious about forwarding, and we can forward, right? But we doubting within ourselves that if you love half of these things here, then we're going to sink. But then the things are sinking us.
Yep.
Then, and we have to realize that within ourselves. In Africa, they're trying to do a lot of things about these things, you know. But then again, you got the doubting mind in between, But give space for another man, you know.
Yep. Definitely. Thank you for your contribution. It's the distance that we would have come, and how we got to where we are at. We think, and we see people are talking about how we're condemning systems that were in place before, but the systems are still here. It's still here. Let's go to the phone lines and take another call. Caller, you live on your views. Can you turn your radio down, please?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes. No, we are not going to find any perfect situation or any situation that is near perfect. From my experience over the last 20, 30 years, we have benefited from taking out those who are entrenched and trying something else. Mm-hmm. If we're not satisfied, it's easier to change who we put in than to change those who had been there for a long time. For instance, if you look at the Labour Party in the 70s, they had got so entrenched that they just didn't care. As a friend of mine keeps saying, you take after 1971. This is just one example, but it was the whole attitude. Things they did and things they did not do. I can recall when I moved from the grammar school up the village to down by the park in 1958. Labour had been promising to build a school up the village, a government school. They used to use the Methodist schoolroom. And up to when they left power, nothing had been done towards getting a school in the village, It's Pam later on had to come and build a school up there. So you have to take your chances sometimes, right? But it's easier. It's better to get rid of the entrenched and try something new than to let the entrenched people stay in there, because when they're in there and get entrenched, they find all kind of ways of preventing people from getting the change that's needed. What happened over the last couple of years is people from inside who managed to cause the change,
Yeah.
You go back to, let's take the most recent one with Timothy Harris and Dr. Douglas. It was somewhat from inside Harris that managed to assist in bringing around the change,
Mm-hmm.
And before that, you go back and again, it took Pam, well, Pam was not inside, but they had sufficient assistance from people inside. For instance, to keep them in touch with what's going on. I can recall somebody from the PAM party there were some of us who backed Pam and were wondering if the correct thing was to abolish income tax totally. We favored a reduction of the rates and things like that. But in retrospect, the abolition was the best thing, and replacing it with something else, because it's difficult for people to evade custom duties and things like that. Well, so many people were able to evade the payment of income tax. Those who were better versed and those who had their own profession, like doctors and lawyers, hardly paid income tax. So we were not getting in anywhere near what we should have gotten in income tax. But it's difficult to evade customs duties and things like that. So I would go in favor of making a change now and again and trying something new. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. And that is one of the things that we have to hold on to. We have to hold on to our history. And people like that last caller, I appreciate the fact that you call, and because there are a lot of young people who have not an understanding of what took place and why that has brought us to the point that we are at now. Let's go back to the phone lines and take a call. Caller, you're live on your views.
Hello, good morning, Sanjo.
Hi, good morning.
How you doing?
I am good. You're gooder?
Okay, you you sound gooder than me.
Well, that's the competition. How are you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Long time no hear.
That's right. I'm good. I'm growing like French weed.
I know. Don't let nobody pluck you, eh?
No way.
Okay, good.
No way. Not as long as his tongue can move in my head.
I know.
No. Carlo said that you are the parable that if a spot come out, a fish come out, you say shark, right? Well, there are many different species of shark. So when you ask him what kind of shark, you were right. Now, come back to this politics. Politics is not only pertaining to parliamentarians, you know.
Nope.
All kind of sports have been in politics.
Yep.
Work has been in politics. School has been in politics. When someone has to make a decision for many persons congregate together, there's where politics click in. A lot of times, persons who are qualified for a position, just because of whatever reason they're not appreciated the person, they use politics in that. And they give the person who are not qualified for the job. So that kind of thing, decision is politics. And internally, that is when team unity start to crack up. Internally, and when you have anybody in any organization who greedy, not needy, but greedy, that is the turmoil. They're going to mash up whatever the organization is. And we cite plain. There was one individual, all that individual was talking about is money. And that individual tried many things to see if he could get to dethrone the leader of the unity, which was Prime Minister Harris. So he do all kind of manner of evil, and he said, well, okay, let's start inside. And once he get inside, crack up, then he gonna extend to the outside. And that is what happened through greed. And up to now, we can still hear and see the greed coming out of it.
Well, then we're going to have the same results. If the greed continues to permeate as it did, we're going to see the same result more sooner than later.
Exactly. Exactly. Because there are two words which people uses to propel them forward. One is want. That's where the greed comes in. And the other one is need. Need is a vacant spot to be fulfilled. And want is the surface. Because, son, if you, let's say you and your husband take a walk to town, and you read and you look in a store and you see a piece of a cloth and you say, Ma'am, I like the cloth, I want it. You don't need it.
No.
If you were home, you would not have seen it to say you want it.
It's just a desire.
Exactly. So if you had a need from home, you would have said, let me go in town to look for a piece of cloth, a specific color cloth. So that is what's happening around the place. Too much greed and power does mash up things. Anyway, son,
It was
you
a pleasure.
continue, darling. I'm listening.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure hearing you. Oh,
Yeah.
that is why I do my program, so that I can hear people like you. Thanks for calling, and your contribution is always, it's always grateful to hear. I'm always grateful to have people like you call into the program. Have a nice one.
Okay, dear. You too.
Yeah, we do.
God bless. Yeah.
Same to you. And this is where we at. You know, it's a sad thing that our children's future depends on, and that's where we are, because my future depended on people's decision. Your future, because as we grow older, and it continue, it get worse. It's getting worse, and it's getting worse. Once ago, we could have controlled it, but now it's totally out of control. Let's go to the phone lines and take another call. Call your life on your views.
Hey, good morning, Sandra.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
This is Journey here. Now, one of your caller earlier mentioned that Rastafari is the way forward. And I tend to agree with him. But let me say this, Sandra. We as a collective, we have lost our identity. The system today, those who are running this matrix, has created a system of economics. You know, and within this economics, the paper is what is burning in our eyes. This is what glitters, the dollar. Now, when we lost our identity, we step out of who we were and we become what they have made us to be.
It's true.
Now, in order for us to know who we are, now let us look at the Rastas. They were ridiculed in their early existence here in our space. Rastafari. You know how we can go back to in the days of Bratcha, how Rasta were treated. But look at how Rasta eat. You know, I had a conversation with a couple, an American couple last night at a hotel. And we were talking about the way we eat with utensils like fork and spoon, knife and fork. And I said to them, it is nice to eat with your hands. And the wife was agreeing, and the gentleman was, he did finally agree that everything that we're using is man-made. The animals eat from nature. And everything was provided for us by our Creator, but we have lost that because we want everything now that is man-made. Are you following me, Sandra?
I am following you. And one of the things, I wish you had calling earlier, because it's an area that I really wanted to debate about, because we talk, like the Rastafarian, where I said, about looking within us. But even that movement...
Sandra, just a minute. Listen, I grew up where Rastas used to eat from calabash.
Yeah.
They used to cook in pots made from clay.
Yeah.
The scripture talk about earthen vessels.
And you know why?
The calabash. The
calabash,
the coconut shell. All these things we have moved away from now because we want silvers. We want stainless steel silverware.
Which is poison.
Pots and pans.
Which is poison. The clay pot has all the minerals that the body needs. And when you cook it, your body
today we are heating food in microwave.
It's crazy.
We're even storing our food on refrigerator, and that
poison
is killing.
It's poison.
Killing.
And then we ask ourselves,
everything that is in the food that we're supposed to eat.
We're eating dead food. The food is not good. It's dead.
Exactly.
And how can you find life out of something that is dead? And it's an understanding, it's an awareness that we have to create in our people, because we've been so brainwashed. Some of us would have escaped. Some of us.
Let me ask you one question quickly before that, Sandra. Have you ever had sushi since the sushi came to St. Kitts? Have you eaten sushi?
I have. I tried everything. That's me.
So have I. And you see, this is what we are. Every culture come, we embrace it, and we reject. We reject what is ours. We're now eating raw fish. Sandra, I
don't eat the raw one. I don't eat raw sushi. I don't do raw fish. I had the one that is...
I understand. I'm just thinking that there are so many of us who have tried it because it is foreign, and I mean, look at when they opened that restaurant going on towards the Marriott. When they cook with the fire and the lower scene with the commercial just to get us to move, and we are so disrupted.
We are gullible.
We have been interrupted, and it is working. It is working. So I have to agree with the rest who call in and say it is the way forward. We have to go back. There's an African word, sankofa, meaning we have to go back and fetch what we left behind.
Lucky for us, we can go back.
Thank you for taking my call, Sandra.
Thank you for your contribution. You see, we are running out of time. We have 2 more minutes before the end of the show, and I want to expound on what the previous caller the last caller would have said, and what the Rastafari has said. We have to start finding ourselves again. We would have lost ourselves in the matrix. We condemn what happens, what governments do. We condemn where we are in the world today, and we blame other people. But we don't have to be a part of it. We have to come to our own consciousness and find ourselves and be different, because we know it is sad. And I can never understand it, even with me, because you're talking, you know what is right, but yet still you go contrary to what is right, and you do the wrong things. We talk about how the foods are killing us, but yet still we're eating the food. I have a caller. I'm going to give the caller. You have 30 seconds to say what you have to say. I'll take this call. Caller, you live on your views.
Greetings to you, Highness. Thanks for taking our call, even though just a few seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks